Hello there.
Hello, everyone. Let's wait a couple of minutes for everybody to join our
Yes, that's
today's
right.
webinar.
Great. Could you let us know whether you can see us, whether you can hear us, just so we know, that everything works as it should. Yeah, we have a bit of a lag when it comes to comments showing at our side, so I will wait a moment or two just to get your confirmation that you can hear us and you can see us.
We have one hi from Agnieszka. Agnieszka, where you from? Let us know, please.
Yeah, we've now got some more.
Okay.
Yeah, visible.
Yes.
Great. That's
Natasha, Tom.
As I hope the weather is better at your place than at mine. It is raining heavily now. I hope we'll not get any disturbance when it comes to connection because of that.
Let us know, please, where you're from, whether it's nighttime or daytime or morning on your side.
Yeah. We are now in Poland, so it's 4 p.m. there, so afternoon. Okay, guys, I think we may be slowly starting today's session. I think those of you who will come later, that they may watch what they've missed during with our coding, because it's and available later to view it again. So there's no need to postpone more. We see we have some people from Romania here. Hi there, Alina. 5 p.m. So yeah, hour difference between Poland.
Yes.
Okay, so are we starting, Mariusz?
Yes, 7 p.m. from, I'm afraid to try to pronounce it because it's like words combined together. Sorry, letters combined together. Nigeria, 3 p.m. Okay, so let's get started. I will start from saying that it's good to have you all during our today's webinar. And remember, you're more than welcome to visit our YouTube channel, Executive Explorer YouTube channel, and please subscribe. I will send the link to this channel in a minute. Before we get started, let me introduce ourselves. We're from X Plus company. That's the company which is among the top 1% of Microsoft partners worldwide, and we specialize in the implementation and maintenance of Microsoft Dynamics 365. Also, we are the vendor of a wide range of products which are meant to help our clients to make it easier and more efficient for them as it comes to performing everyday tasks in the Dynamics environment. I'm Mariusz Walter, and I'm today's co-host of the webinar named Process Mining and Task Mining in D365 FSCM. Bring your processes to a whole new level. And with me, we have Sylvia, who's the product owner of Executive Explorer. I must tell you that recently, Sylvia had the pleasure of presenting our data mining tool at the Microsoft Community Summit in Orlando. So if you missed it then, today you have a great chance to catch up the valuable information from Sylvia as regards data mining solutions. And perhaps I will go to agenda before I let Sylvia speak. So during the webinar, we're going to focus and tell why it's important to have a detailed knowledge about D365 processes. Sylvia will tell you how can process mining help in optimization of your business processes, how to generate significant savings on system upgrades. She will tell you about our approach to support processes in D365, how to enhance security and anti-fraud processes. And she will present our Executive Explorer tool as an innovative tool for task and process mining. And we will finish up with Q&A session. So Sylvia, the stage is yours.
Thank you, Mariusz. Hi there, guys. Just before we start, I wanted to ask you, since in the agenda you've seen that the last part will be to our Q&A session, but if you guys have any questions during the whole presentation, please write them in the comments. We will, of course, try to answer all your questions, but at the end of the presentation. So this is my request. Do not wait till the last moment, but anytime a question comes to your mind, just send it in the chat and we will take care of that, try to answer it later. One more thing before we start. What do we mean by D365 process, FSCM? I think that not all of you are familiar with this term FSCM because this is the new name of FNO. So this is, Dynamics for Finance and Operations. And we are mostly focusing on this tool today, on this solution and on process optimization regarding processes which happen in this solution. Okay, so I think I've made this clear, so we can start now. So let's first talk about why it is important to have detailed knowledge about your processes. So, of course, the more you know of the processes you have in your organization, the better decision you can make. So, but first, let's talk about what exactly you should know about your processes in D365 to make conscious decision, to make informed decision, to actually get value from optimization. So first of all, you need to know what your processes really look like. And this is quite challenging actually, because how do you actually know that? You may have documentation, okay, but does it really mirror the reality, right? This is a question that we should ask ourselves, whether the users do in the system exactly what they should be doing, as what we think they're doing, as the documentation says. And just to tell you from my experience, very often it happens that the more users you have who use a given process, the more variants, different approaches to using this process there are. And of course, some are more effective, more efficient, more actually optimal than other, but also there are some which are more prone to errors. And documentation, even if you have it, if you keep it up to date, which is a challenge itself, as you may know, even this documentation may not offer you this information. You wouldn't be really documenting every variant of a process there is, right? It would be quite difficult. But actually, this is something what we really need. We really need to know what processes look like if you want to optimize them. Because think about it, if you were to optimize a process just looking at the documentation, and it would turn out that the users are not doing the process as documentation intends, so the optimization would bring no value. So this will be, a loss generated. So this is something we really should avoid. Of course, another information you need to know is how much actually the process costs you. Thanks to that, you will be able to, decide which processes you should take care of first when it comes to optimization. And I often, when I talk to our customers, we often share this laugh about how generally it looks like in organization when you decide what process to pick. For optimization, of course. Very often it is like this, that we decide on optimizing processes which are brought to us by people who complain the loudest, right? They, say that this process doesn't work, they consume a lot of time, and we simply believe those people who scream the loudest, colloquially speaking. And very often it may happen that those processes are not the ones that actually should be taken care of first, right? Just brief story. We were in the middle of upgrading the system to D365. And there was one process which creating a report which was totally automated in the IX. So the user, of course, wanted it to have it automated in D365 as well, but it would, prolong the upgrade, would make the postpone the go live because it was quite complex. And we've asked this user how much time it would take them if it was not automated, if they would need to work in Excel. So it turned out that the person said that it would take 40 minutes once a month. So yeah, so just there we've realized that so such a process which manually takes only 30 minutes once a month, should not be really treated as MVP right here. So knowing the actual cost of the process is important. The same goes for the time. Of course, it is really related to the previous point. How prone to errors the process is, because it brings additional costs if it results ever so often in error. How the users find the process. Some unintuitive processes take longer just simply because the users are not really familiar with it. So this is very important as well to know. I see that there is some issue with my camera. I'm not sure how to fix it, but I will work on it later, and let me continue just talking right now. The most important thing is that you see the presentation. Okay, so how the users find the processes is important. And to answer the next thing, which is also very important, is do the process have actual potential for optimization? What I believe is that every process has a potential for optimization, but not every process is worth optimizing. We really need to think about ROI here, the return of the investment, how long it would take for us to get the return of this investment to create the optimization. If it is longer than a year, longer than 2 years, then it's most likely not worth it, because processes evolve, they change, and it may turn out that we will never get back the money, the costs, the investment we've actually had. Okay, and so this information we're showing you at the previous slide is quite necessary to have, but the problem is how to get it, right? It is not so easy. We can get it from documentation, but as I've said, if it exists, because it may not exist and maybe not up to date, it does not really cover all those information. It does not really show you, that there are different variants of processes. It doesn't show you the actual intuitiveness. It doesn't measure it. It does not show you the true cost of the process, or to how much time it takes in general, right? Also, we can, for example, interview users, but still it will be very time consuming and still not provide us with all the information needed. So a real game changer that appeared in the market that we are actually specializing is to use dedicated tools which use task mining and process mining. Those tools, just a spoiler alert, we will show you such a tool today. This is a tool we've created, Executive Explorer. So such tools will show you actually all those information. So how much processes cost you, exactly how many variants they have, how those variants differ from one another, how much time they take, or whether they are intuitive or not. All those things will be displayed. This tool will provide you. So with it, you will be able to make really more conscious decisions, and you will minimize the risks of failure. So this is also something, very worth not mentioning here. Yeah, so just to now summarize and add some things about why it's important to think about going with such solutions, which is process mining and task mining. Yeah, so I will repeat it because it's very important. We will be able to make more conscious decisions about selecting processes for optimization. We will know which really will bring us the greatest value. The next thing is, of course, there will be money saved on time needed for updating documentation and interviewing users if you wanted to use the approach I've mentioned before. Because we will, by monitoring with process mining tool, with monitoring what happens in the system, we will actually see what users are really doing, what they are, how the processes evolve, how they change, how they get modified with time. So actually, the documentation will be creating itself based on those recording. So we will not need to do it. Of course, thanks to process mining, we'll also know how to better allocate employees to processes. We will see how much time they spend on some processes. We will see the bottlenecks. We will know how to, better manage it, and see, be able to kind of make a forecast for the future that, given the growth we've noticed, how those employees should be allocated. Maybe somebody should be hired to help out. Also by, for example, comparing processes between given companies, subsidiaries you have. So this is also help here. And of course, a great value of process mining is that it significantly, actually is a game changer when it comes to enhanced analysis, enhanced support, security tests, and many more. Because the reason is simple. We get access to data which was previously unavailable. And that's why it is a game changer. Okay. So let's think now about how process mining and task mining can help you optimize your business processes. And I focus here on business because I will also like to talk a bit later about other processes, not business processes, but those operational ones. So first, let's focus on business processes. I'm not sure if you guys had even participated in a project of optimizing processes in a whole organization. Generally, it is, a project which introduces quality management, which introduces different frameworks such as Lean or Six Sigma. And it is, a big project the whole company participates in. And generally, 70% of such projects fail. Yeah, and to be honest, I was participating in 4 such projects. 3 of them failed. And the reason why they fail is very simple. There is too much, the project is too big and it involves too much risk due to lack of sufficient data. So, generally it looks like this. Yes, the whole company gathers, the teams are being involved, the users are being involved of different systems, and now they need to look for areas to optimize. So they find those areas, they say what really pains them, and they go to the IT team. And now the IT department has workload for about 3 to 5 years, right? So many tasks, so many things to do. And so what? Yeah, in 3 to 5 years, those processes will most likely change. Those things would no longer be needed to be done. And we just decide what to optimize, what we feel is the most important. We really lack data here. So the risk of failure is very huge, especially since even if we take an iterative approach and just, decide on take one by one the processes to optimize, it is very difficult to measure whether they bring the value we expect. So not only determining the result is difficult due to lack of data, also finding out what was the result is also difficult because of the lack of such data. And with process mining, actually, the risk is minimized almost to none. And yeah, also I've get here information that over 11% of money invested in such project is wasted due to poor project performance. And this is only due to the poor project performance. Of course, there are other wastes generated, but here we lose over 10% on such a simple thing. And why just project performance lacks here? Also due to the lack of data, due to the huge risk, which is difficult to address, which is difficult to manage. And even if you've got a great project manager, they would really have to struggle with managing this risk and addressing it. So as I've said, with process mining, we suddenly get access to this data. We're able to measure the progress. We're able to make better decisions, better to determine the scope of the project. So therefore, it has a greater chance of success. But just one thing, guys, what I would really recommend is not to go with such a big project all at once, because it is difficult to manage. It's difficult to make everyone do their work on time. It's better to actually use Kaizen. I'm not sure if you're familiar with this terminology. It's also related to quality management. Kaizen says that optimization should be by small steps. So not one big project to change everything, to make a revolution, just change the culture of the organization that people feel comfortable with making small optimization. And you just take a process, find a small thing to fix there, you look for another, you fix it, you check whether it brought value. If not, you try to do it again. If yes, look for another small thing. This way, you are able to actually control the changes that happen to processes. So this is just, I wanted to add something like this, just, from my experience, what works better. But just to, kind of prove my point, I'd like to share with you some success stories of our customers who've used our process mining tool and actually change their processes without having huge projects to actually gain the optimization they wanted. One of the cases here we've got from a customer from construction department, construction sector, sorry, and they had one big problem with their processes, which was that they involved multiple repetitive actions. So the users were writing over and over the same values, or had to type the same things, choose the same options, and it was unnecessary work for them. There was this one case, for example, when they were doing a prognosis, and to create a prognosis involved 600 steps, a bit over 600, and 40% of these steps involved repetitive actions. So by simply introducing mini macros, some predefined fields, the company was able to generate a saving of 1,100 hours per year. So let's say that the employee earns around 50 per hour who works in Dynamics. Of course, it may differ depending on the region you are, but if we just say 40 or 50, then it would generate a savings of $500,000 per year by just such a simple thing, small improvement, right? Another example we've got here is purchase contracts. Yet here people were doing it manually in this case, so they were typing values from the documents and introducing OCR, so this technology which reads values from the document, from scanned document, and enters into system automatically. This way, over 4,000 hours were being saved. And another case of a customer who just recently moved to Dynamics 365 F&O. This customer had a problem with the users actually had a problem with the system, as it was very complex. There were many fields, they were getting lost there. And by simply introducing them to existing functionalities such as favorites or dashboards, they were able to save over almost 2,000 hours. So yeah, so Small things bring a huge difference, make a huge difference. And guys, if you are thinking about system upgrade, process mining can help you out here as well. First of all, if you probably, if you have a system like AX 2009 or 2012, you've probably made some modifications to it, right? And now, do you know what of these modifications are still being used and should be transferred to the new system, and which can be skipped, omitted, or just postponed? Well, it's difficult, right, to know it. But if you have a process mining tool which records everything the users do in the system, you will actually see whether those modifications are being used and how often they are used. So with access to such information, you are able to decide what processes should be modified in the new system as well. And thanks to that, you will be able to save time and money on the upgrade itself. What's more, you will also, at the end of this upgrade, there's a necessity to perform user acceptance tests, right? UATs. And those tests are really crucial because after go live, the system needs to be running, right? This is an important system for you. So with process mining tool, you are able to monitor whether the users are doing the tests correctly, whether of course they do it at all, because it also happens sometimes that they say they do, but they really don't. But here you will also be able to say whether they do the tests, how they do it, whether this is done in a correct manner. So yeah, so there is also many values here when it comes to system upgrade. And now let's move on a bit to other processes than business processes. Let's talk about how process mining can actually revolutionize support of this 365. You most likely have people or teams or even departments related to application support. And if you guys had any chance to work in support or with those people who work in support, you may know that one of the most difficult things is the root cause analysis. So finding what actually was being done that resulted in error, what was the cause. And such analysis takes sometimes hours, days, months, even years. The longest case I've encountered took 3 years. In the company had to hire, external people to help work out what really happened in the system. It was a major issue that it needed to be resolved, but really 3 years, guys, to find a cause. Generally, it takes hours or days in most cases, but months also happen. And yeah, why such issue actually happens? So let's think about being such a person in working in support, right? So the user comes in and says, I've got an error. Something went wrong when I was trying to create a sales order, let's say. And so the support person asks, okay, so please tell me what exactly you've done in the system so I can retrace it and actually analyze what happened. And very often the users doesn't really remember well what exactly they've done. And finding out actually what they've done, it needs lots of tries, and sometimes we are unable to track it, to recreate it. And thanks to having process mining tools, actually you can check what they've done. You just simply look for the time and the user who's encountered the error, and you see exactly step by step what they've done. So instead of spending hours, days, weeks, you spend minutes. So that's why I think it's really revolutionary. It speeds up the whole process in such a way that it's really, really amazing. It's something truly amazing. And I wished process mining was available to me when I was working in support years ago. Yeah, I would really find it handy. Now let's talk about processes related to security. First of all, process mining may help you find loopholes in your security role assignments. Actually, it happened to one of our customers who recently used our Executive Explorer, they were just monitoring the sensitive parts of the system, actually, and they found out that it was for this company it was priceless. Yeah, it was very important for them because there was a retail company with a large number of orders being processed every day, and the correct pricing was crucial here for them. And it turned out that people who shouldn't have access to this part of the system actually had access there and were editing. So it caused quite a roar in the organization, you may imagine, that such thing existed. But still, it proves my point that with process mining, with monitoring what users are actually doing in the system, you can find such loopholes, because how else would you be able to do it, right? And also you will be able to find cases of process misconduct. If anybody does something they shouldn't, even illegal, like adding somebody to payroll and then removing it, or making some money transfers and trying to cover the tracks, all those activities would be recorded by process mining tools such as Executive Explorer we have. And thanks to that, you will be able to have better control of your system and will be able to enhance your security. And guys, so right now I would like to talk to you a bit about our solution, about our Executive Explorer, which is a tool we've created for task mining and process mining. And before I show you the tool itself, what it offers, how can you use it, I would like to quickly tell you how it works, just so get an understanding of the mechanics behind it. So first of all, it captures all the activities of the users in the system. So everything the users click on, every option they choose, every radio button they click on, everything is being recorded. Then this data is being stored in a database, which belongs, of course, to the customer, because it's, of course, sensitive data, so it belongs to them. They grant access to whoever they want. And in this database, our unique big data algorithms and machine learning are being applied. So based on those recordings, the algorithm looks for common behavioral patterns and finds processes, and finds within those processes then finds the potential for automation. And the results of this analysis are being shown in the web application, which I'm going to show you right now. I'm going now to switch to the application, but also if you're interested in a free trial, which you can see, for 2 weeks, you may check the functionalities this tool offers and see whether you might find it useful. So if you are interested, you can sign up. Additionally, I will also remind you about it after the demonstration. So right now I'm moving to the tool itself. I hope it is visible. Okay, guys, so what do you see here is our Executive Explorer. In this table, you have the processes which were found by our solution. And our algorithm has this feature that you may actually adjust its sensitivity. So, for example, you may want to work with processes as whole, the whole process of, let's say, creating an order, a sales order, or you may want it to chop it to smaller parts, like, for example, adding an attachment, because it may be easier like this to, to analyze processes when you have smaller chunks. But of course, it is up to every analyst, the way they prefer to work with, right? Especially with complex processes, the idea of chopping it may be more useful. Okay, but what we've got here: the name of the process, the number of execution of the process, how many users use the process, average steps it takes, average time, total time, and cost. So guys, here, thanks to this feature, of course, all those, you may filter all those values. You can filter those. So you may find, as I said, the most costly processes here. So you will know that which should be treated in the first, which should be first optimized. Additionally, we've got repeating activities indicator. So this comes to the case I told you with repetitive actions, right? That there are some repetitive action in the system. So yeah, also those will be quite. This information will be quite useful. Also, we've got potential for automation. I will tell you about it a bit more later. And you may wonder why not all processes are being named. We actually have our algorithms learn how to name processes. So you can name them on your own, of course. You may have your own nomenclature you want to use, but additionally, it also names processes it finds. But if it finds very rare processes, like here, we've got only twice used them, it still has problem with naming it correctly. So some may be left unnamed. But of course, this case happens actually in this test environment, since it is, it doesn't have really many executions here. Of course, in a production environment, there will be many more cases to talk about. And now let's take a look at one of the processes. This process is to create a customer. I wanted to use a simple one. And what we've got here, of course, the name, create customer. Of course, we can change it, as I told you, or you can leave the name given by the system. The area it covers. Additionally, you may create your own areas. You may assign the owner of the process if you wish. And on the right, we've got some KPIs. So the number of executions, its potential for automation. Here we've got 3. So the scale is from 1 to 10, and 10 means a great potential for automation. 1 means not really. But of course, let's not mistake automation with optimization, right? We can make optimization without really needing to automate. Yeah, so anything. So that's the difference. Yeah, the numbers of users, who use the process, and the cost. So we got some KPIs here. Now we've got the process graph and the variance. The variance is what I've told you today at the beginning, yeah, that different approaches the users have to the process. And let's take a look at those variants. There are quite many of them. And we see average time of each of these variants takes, average steps, the potential for optimization or automation of these variants, how many users use which variant, and what is the cost of a given variant, right? And by clicking on each of them, we see the graph changes, showing you actually the variant itself. And when you look at this whole, graph, the bold lines show you the most often used variant, and those thinner lines show you the less often used variants. So let's quickly analyze the most often used one. Let me make it bigger, and we just follow the arrows from start till end. So first of all, we click on a customer table, we click new customer account, we click on the name. So we provide the name, we save it, close it, and that's the end of the process. Simple, right? Hopefully all processes were as simple as that. But with such a simple process, there are so many variants here that is kind of surprising, right? And worth analyzing actually, because this variant may be the one which would be indicated by documentation, and those 6 more pages of variants may be skipped, right? We've got here 58 actually different variants here. So yeah. Additionally, what we've got here is information about the slowest steps in the process. It may also come in handy in cases that some steps may impact negatively on the whole system performance, and the process may be, maybe this is the area that would need to be optimized. And additionally, user performance. But what's really interesting is here. We've got here the list of all process executions that they are, with such information of which company they were being made in, which user performed the process, what variant they used, when they've done it, how long it takes, steps, and some other additional information. So let's take a look at one such execution. Okay. And so what we've got here information, of course, about process. We can mark it as a reference process if we believe that this process is the best one and we want to use it as a reference one, of course. Generate template is actually a feature which is connected to another product from our family of products, Executive Automats. If you guys know it, here you could generate a template and upload it to Automats, and you have a ready-made scenario for test automation. So just such a feature I wanted to briefly mention. What we've got here also is information about which users, when performed this process, and how long it took them. And here we've got all the steps they've done, with additional information, of course. So we know how long they took the step took them to perform, the client time and server time. And the difference between those two is like this. Client time is actually how long the equipment the user was working on took to respond. So, for example, some users may have old computers, and that's why they work slower. Or they may run some heavy application like Visual Studio or Figma, or have multiple tabs opened in their web browser, and that's why their system, the dynamics, is working slow for them. And this is actually where you can check it out and see that's the case. And server time is actually the time dynamic itself takes to respond. So yeah, so here's the difference. What's more, I wanted to show a little bit more. If we click on a step, like I just did, we get some additional information. Some general information such as the company, the platform, the environment, the form name, the session ID, things like that, which may be useful for support or for actual analysis, of course, and business context. So actually, what the users written into fields, what options they've chosen, what they selected. And here is actually what opens the door for the support, right? Because if we know what users done, here we see what they typed. We're able to actually recreate it exactly as they've done it, right? So we see each step and each value written. So nothing misses here. And of course, there are also additional ways you can see what happens, like from the activities perspective and user sections, because with our tool, we record everything that happens in the system, and not everything may be a part of a process. So sometimes it may be like this, that somebody did something only once. It never occurred again, or occurs so rarely that it's not really a part of any process. And it may involve some, security breaches or some things dangerous for the system, or things that generate some errors or other trouble. So by having access to that, we are able to actually have better control of our system, of what happens in Dynamics. Of course, here are the filters. You can use them. You may decide which users you want to check, at what time. So if you know when that error occurred, but don't know what users done it, with what users were working a process that resulted in error, you may just narrow the dates, narrow the time, or maybe the user, so just narrow the user. You may enter values. Let's say, for example, that was something wrong happened with a customer, so you may enter the customer name or order number, says order number, anything that that would help you find what really happened in the system. And you can actually get detailed information about what happened during this session. So we know that this user on this time done this. And for example, if we click on difference, we are able to see what actually changed in the system. So for example, if fields were to be edited, we will see that here are the previous values, and here are the values the customers left with. In this case, actually, no values were being edited, just the activity ID ended. So somebody just actually viewed something without editing. But this is also an important information that we know that somebody entered a record, for example, a customer account, but they didn't change anything. And other case maybe when they actually edited something, and we will be able to track what were the previous values and what were the values that they finished with. So for audit purposes, for security monitoring, this is a feature that's really a game changer, really gives us a value, gives us information otherwise unavailable. Okay, guys, I think for this demonstration, that may be it. I think I've shown you some of the major features which relate to this topic of today's presentation. Of course, I just like to remind you that if you want to try this tool on your own, want to see its features, then you can sign up for a free trial. The link is in the chat. So if you're interested, please sign up. And right now, I think we may go to our Q&A part of today's session. Yes. So
hello again.
Yeah, hi, Mariusz. So, guys, if you have any questions, now is the time to actually send them, because there's a bit lag, as I told you. We may receive them in a minute or two. So please, if anything comes to your mind, please write those questions and let us know. Yeah. We've also got a comment from Omid that if he's enjoying it, we're happy that you find this display pleasant. Yeah, exactly. Guys, so when it comes to questions, let's start with answering them.
I have one question. So the question is, can I decide to record only some users?
Okay, so let me answer that. So actually, yes. We generally recommend to record for the security purposes, actually, and to get the whole information, the complete information of what happens in the system. We recommend to record all the users at all times. But of course, if you want to know just to record only some users, some teams, you can do it. You can actually decide who you want to record and who not. Additionally, for example, if you wanted to, get someone from external company enter your system for some audit or from some repairs, something to do something actually in your system, you may actually monitor what parts of system they've entered, what they've done there, and even generate a report in PDF. This you can export this to PDF from our system and get actually a report what they've exactly done. So for security and audit purposes, you can also decide what users you want to record, of course, for other purposes as well. But just summarize, you can record only some users.
Any more questions from your side?
Let me browse through the chats, because we are not only on YouTube but also on LinkedIn, so we need to check. Okay.
There's one more, so I will show it.
Okay. Well, yeah.
Can this tool monitor the whole session of the user?
Okay, so I can also answer it. Actually, there's actually a feature in the tool itself when you can actually see the whole session. So this also would come handy with this audit purposes of external users I've told you about. So when give me a second, I just lost my thought. So when you've got an external user in your system and you want to see exactly what they've done, not on a given process, but exactly from the beginning to the end, you can monitor the whole session. This is actually an additional feature of showing you the sessions of all the users of all steps being done there. So if you want to see how it looks like, you can sign up for the trial. This feature is involved in the trial, so you can check it.
Okay, Sylvia, we have another question.
Okay, I see it.
Did you measure the performance impact of multiple sessions being recorded?
Oh, you mean like the impact of multiple users? Yeah, we've got actually Grafana, if I'm not wrong. This is how this source is code, and it measures the total impact. And we've got such a customers who had a system error. It was the system don't how do you say it? That a crash actually occurred, and the tool was actually able to find when the moment it happened. Because of the performance was so high and suddenly it dropped to zero, right? So also yes, also such things and the tool can monitor.
There is one more like linked question to the one asked by Piotr. So let me present it to you right now. So is there any performance impact on D365 when using this program?
Yeah, we've measured it actually, what is the impact, and it is at most 4% of impact. So actually 4% is such a small number that it is not being felt by users at all. They do not feel a thing. But what's more, we've implemented a solution that in case something would happen that would increase the impact on the solution on that 365, that it would make using the 365 difficult for users, the agent which records would stop working at that time. So yes, so the impact is very, very low, but also there is additional security security measure implemented so that the performance is not being impacted negatively almost at all.
There's one question about does Executive Explorer work for AX 2009?
Yeah, it works for AX 2009, for AX 2012, and for Dynamics 365 FNO. And because it works on AX 2009 and AX 2012, it actually is very handy for system upgrade, which I've mentioned to you, right, during the presentation, that you can measure with this tool what processes are still being used, what modifications are still being used, and which are needed to be transferred.
There's one question from Tommy related to GDPR. So how is it reconciling with GDPR and privacy if the worker at the workplace?
Okay, so this is quite a good question, and quite to answer it. Actually, I need to tell you a bit more, not just one sentence. First of all, we record only what happens in Dynamics. So let's say that you have a web application and you also open another tab, and then you have your Facebook account. We will not record that. We only focus on Dynamics, on what happens in Dynamics, and when it comes to privacy of all that happens in the system is the how to say it, belongs to actually is the right of the company to actually check what is done in the system, right, for security purpose, for example, right? So it also happens here. Additionally, what
Sylvia,
yeah,
Sylvia, I would just add that you said it before, but perhaps it was easy to miss that all the recorded data belongs to our customer and not to us. So if the customer wants some of the data to not be visible, we can do it. Like, we work flexibly and according to our customers' need.
Yeah. So, for example, guys, you've got anonymized data in your Dynamics because somebody wanted to be forgotten, and they applied the GDPR requirement. The data shown in Explorer will also be anonymized. But if you wanted a different approach and you would like to see anonymized data in Explorer, of course, it will not show you all when you want like this. It don't show you all data, but it is possible. We actually anonymize data. Actually, in our presentation environment, we've just created a copy of our environment and anonymized data so that no really production values were being provided here. So also there is there's a way to also comply fully to GDPR requirements and also similar laws in other countries, in other regions.
There's another question from Alina. So let me read it. What if we do not have the Microsoft standard D365 version settings? If is pretty much personalized on our needs. So the question is basically whether we record any modifications, any customizations, if I understand it right.
I think I understand it as well like this. So the answer is yes. Yes. Everything that happens in the Dynamics, even if you modified it, if you added additional fields, if you made any, any modifications to standard, but it still is in Dynamics, then yes, of course we will record it. The only thing we would not, if you had some parts of the processes in a different system or in an Excel file something was being done, then we will know that an Excel file, for example, was being uploaded, but what was actually being done in Excel, what was the steps performed there, we wouldn't be able to see it. So as long as the modifications are done in Dynamics, then yes, of course, it will be recorded.
Sylvia, I would like to come back to your answer and Tommy's comment. Tommy says it's not an easy question. It was the question about the GDPR. The answer isn't neither. Thanks for your feedback. I think it's worth mentioning that the access to this data within in our tool in Executive Explorer is not for everybody in the company. It is the matter of our client who will give access, and usually it happens that the access is like granted to a very narrow number of people working on analyzing data within organizations.
Yeah,
so it's
that's
not that
true.
everybody has access to it.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So you may have special roles which have access to the tool. Additionally, you may, actually it depends on your needs. You may actually, sign the contracts with your employees who have access to it, demanding their, confidence here, the confidentiality, sorry, here.
Yes.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, but also if you actually want the data to have anonymized, even though those things, it can also happen. So this is very flexible solution here. So actually it depends on the procedures, on the policy of the company itself.
Yeah, but I think it's worth mentioning, as I said before, that the access to the data that we record is allowed to a narrow amount, like a number of people working on
Only
our.
those who have granted access to the web application I've shown you. Yeah.
Yes. So we have 2 minutes left to the finish of this, to the end of this session. Are there any other questions? Actually, there were very, very good questions.
Yeah, thank you very much for these questions. Guys, even if you do not have any now, some things I think I've just shown you. Oh, yeah, sorry. I've just displayed the question which was already answered. Yeah, so if you have any questions later on, then of course we will go back to you and answer to you, so you can contact us. I think there's one more question which appeared right now, so I think for this last one we can spare this last minute answering it. So
again, from Alina, what happens when you have version updates for your feature?
I don't know what you mean by our features.
Like this customization, perhaps?
Well, if it comes to changes to the system, we'll also monitor it. You may be able to narrow down the dates of the by just using the filters I show you, and you will be able to monitor what changed in the processes and what happened in the system before, let's say, the update and after the update. So thanks to that, you will be able to monitor it. I'm not sure if this is what you've asked, so please let us know. If not, we will try. We will try to answer. You can also, if you want to have a chat, you can book a meeting with us. So yeah. Okay, guys.
Finishing with this Tommy's answer, I just show his comment that solid data governance should be paired with it. Indeed. Thanks again.
Okay, thanks, Tommy,
Baptista.
for your questions, for your feedback. It was very nice to talk to you guys. It was nice to meet you. If you have any questions, as I said, you can contact us. You can sign up for the free trial. I hope that you've enjoyed our session. It was informative. I wish you a pleasant evening or any part of the day that now comes at your place. And hopefully we will be able to see you again. So goodbye. Thank you.
Thank you for being with us. Goodbye. See you again.